Hey guys, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And yes, it is official. The Nat 5's are back. I used them last week in the arena, and I'll show you guys how I finished off. I did not actually videotape myself doing arena end because, to be honest, I thought I was gonna do real bad. I thought I was gonna do worse than I did with no Nat 5. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, here's what I finished off. I finished off rank 58. There was also this weird thing at the end of arena. I don't know if you guys experienced this as well, but if you logged off and then logged back in while the arena was tallying, you could actually continue using swords, or not swords, but wings. And I don't think it affected your rank because I feel like I pretty much ended this anyway. I don't think it affected the rank, but it was just really awkward, and I don't think that's ever happened before. So let's just go ahead and talk about how I ruined my monsters, because I feel like maybe some people want to know how I actually ruined my 5-star monsters now that I have them back. Not too much has changed since I previously had them ruined, but I just want to kind of go over it with you guys specifically. This video is going to have a lot of useful information in it, so if you guys want to just sit back, relax, grab a drink, and enjoy. Now, Rena, to start off with Rena, I feel like it's so bad, but she was my first 5-star ever. Even when I had Zeros, I 5-starred my Rena way back in the day. It was like 3 years ago. But here's Rena. I did not use her much last week. I actually used her for probably 10 minutes out of the entire rush hour. But basically just want Rena as much HP as possible. I do like a little speed on my Rena, and then a little crit rate, some resistance. It's much more efficient if you could get her to 100% resistance. And then I have her on shield, but you could really use anything on her. You can use energy, shield, nemesis, revenge, whatever the fuck you want, really, when it comes down to it. I don't have my Sigmaris rune, I don't have my Mi Yang rune, I don't have my Konamiya. I do have it runed, but it's not really speed tuned to what I want it to be used for, so we'll just kind of skip over that. Orion, I have it used swift, offset, so that way it's as fast as possible after I used my runes on Bernard. I prioritized my Bernard because I want my Bernard to be able to go first in a Lucian situation, so I have my Bernard as fast as he can be, and then Orion's next, Megan's next, etc. down the list. Really, Orion, he can be on will runes if you're going to be using him on defense, but at the end of the day, if he's not fast enough, if he's not fast enough, he's not going to be doing what he's needing to be doing, because you're just going to get Lucianed. You're going to have somebody with a Vanessa, Bernard, Lucian combination, and they're just gonna tear your team up. That's what I use on my arena offense all the time. Anytime I see a Orion, I think, okay, I can almost outspeed your Orion with a Bernard without a speed leader. I can almost go Bernard, Megan, Lucian, and outspeed your Orion. So will is important if you're gonna be going against, if you're really trying to counter against Leos, then will is nice, but most Orions use will anyway. So if you use a non-will Orion, chances are Leo users are going to be very skeptical whether or not they want to fight you. Just my 2 cents. You can ruin it however you want, but lately the fastest Orion is really the better Orion. So going into my Galleon is very runed specifically for my arena offense. I used to have it on HP slot 4. But now I realize that he doesn't do enough damage to really successfully counter tank Millas or even Camillas or crit Millas in general without having a little bit of attack percent on him. So if he had HP percent, he wasn't doing enough damage. He wasn't doing anything to Camilla except for reducing the attack bar and then getting resisted out of nowhere on a 15% resistance Camilla. You guys know how it is. So I ran speed leader or speed leader, speed slot 2 with HP percent, not even grinded here. Attack, no speed at all really, and then 15 speed, accuracy not grinded, and then some grinded will right there. Basically just to have 100% accuracy with some decent HP and some decent attack. You want him to be a really all-around type player. for me, I want it to be as low crit rate as possible. The reason why is because if my main problem on my arena offense is Camilla's, then if I crit, I'm basically doing the exact opposite of what I really want him to be doing in the first place, which is to be countering the Camillas. So I try to keep it as low as possible. That's why you have 19% crit rate. Now, I do have this Chandra here, completely not ruined, so don't even worry about that. I have my Tark, really no changes there too much, just violent with really just horrible runes, but it works well for DB10, so if you guys are trying to run DB10, Tark is nice. I also have the other Tark here, kind of run the same way, but just a little bit more attack, and then you can see here, it's not on violent. And I have my Theomars with, I really don't prioritize my Theomars runes. I think it's a good monster for Guild Wars, but really putting your best runes into a Theomars I think is kind of ridiculous. I see people do it all the time, and I just don't feel like it's a good resource to throw all of your runes into. Now, if it's your only natural 5-star monster, if you're just starting off in Fighter, even a little bit in Conquer Arena, I feel like you should have a little bit better monsters by Conquer Arena. Putting some more effort into Theomars is fine, but moving into Guardian 1, Guardian 2, Guardian 3 Arena, you're going to want to try to stay away from Theomars, especially on Arena defense. It's not going to be very viable. You're going to get countered a lot, and it's not going to be as well as you think. So probably spend your runes in different monsters if you're trying to shoot for Guardian 2, Guardian 3. Okay. Moving on to Camilla. Now, Camilla is probably the biggest change that I made. I used to run a crit Milla. Now I'm running like a hybrid tank crit Milla that I haven't really ever seen one built like this before. I have about 42,000 HP, 42,000 HP on it. Some decent amount of attack and decent speed. The only thing that I really am lacking on it is resistance. I wish I had more resistance for, especially for Camilla trying to countering like Sierra bombs, things like that. Then you want it to have a little bit more resistance. However, with the HP where it's at, it could do a really good job of just eating that bomb, sitting on it, and then trying to regain its health back up with violent products. Now, as you can see, the crit rate is at 72%, so that's no joke. That is a high crit tank Milla, and that is exactly how you want to build a tank Milla, is with some decent crit on it. Because if you're building a stall like tank Milla and it's not doing any crit, you're stalling, but you're missing out on a chance to potentially stall and have a win condition as well. So it's almost a double whammy when you build it similar to this. Definitely you want to build violent. Now the other offset runes like the Nemesis, Revenge, things like that, you can try to play around with it a little bit more depending on your substats on the actual runes themselves. However, be careful, because Nemesis is definitely the best way to go. It can go Will, it can go Revenge, things like that. So if you're trying to break into that Guardian arena, you want to make sure you're being able to farm that Necro dungeon. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video, so definitely stay tuned. As we go down the list, I'll talk more of the importance on Necro if you're trying to go up an arena. But here's the runes here. Slot 2 HP with really decent substats, and then just kind of go around the rosy here. And that's how I rune my Camilla. High HP, high crit rate, decent attack, high speed. It's really, I feel, a very efficient way to use it on arena defense. Now, if you're looking to use Camilla in different aspects of the game, this might not be the best option. You could probably go with a little bit more crit damage, a little bit more attack as well. But this is a wonderful way to use it for arena defense. I actually unruined my Stella from my previous GB10 video. I actually went with my Lagmaron instead, which we'll get down to him in just a second. But I really loved my Stella. If you guys only have Stella, definitely she's a great monster to have. I don't have any runes on my Homunculus either, because my Vrad kind of takes its place. So here's my Vrad's runes. It is Violent Will, as you saw there. a little bit of HP, a little bit of defense, a little bit of accuracy. Very, I would say, pretty hard to rune a good Varad. He is very stat dependent, kind of like Juno is, but a little bit more stat dependent. He needs accuracy, he needs crit rate, he needs crit damage, he needs defense, he needs HP, he needs speed, he needs all these different stats. So just really focus on the certain stats that was weird. Just focus on the certain stats that you're looking at, and then just go for it. Trying to build an all-around type style Vrad like this one, you're really not going to be using it for PvP much. You're going to be using it for PvE if you try to build it like this. So PvE wise, this is good for TOA hard. Guild Wars is a little bit PvP, but I still consider it PvE for the most part. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, Guild Wars is PvP, but well, whatever. So HP is at about 23,000 HP, defense a little over 1700, speed, whatever else there. But as you can see here, really, I need to start doing some raids because I have a lot of runes that aren't grinded. As you can see, like, there's a lot of room for improvement on these runes. Unfortunately, I don't know why I haven't ran raids in forever, so I'm gonna be doing that. But I re-ruined my Xiaolin here. This is for R5, speaking of raiding, and this is what it looks like. So decent speed, decent crit damage, decent crit rate. Typically you have a crit rate leader in R5, not always, but typically you do, at least a Hua or something like that. Sometimes you have a Theomars or a 24% crit rate leader. So being at 63% crit rate is fine. I don't see any problems with it. And then some decent attack, decent HP is really the other main thing as well. She is very rune dependent. I was thinking about runing her with vampire runes. However, I don't know. I have a decent like slot 4 vampire crit rate rune that I used to use on my Tosi, but I don't know. I just feel like crit damage is the way to go on her. But just real quick to run through the runes here, as you guys can see, lots of stats on these runes. Very stat dependent, unfortunately, for Xiaolin as well. She needs a lot of different stats, and the fact that her accuracy is so low breaks my heart because she has a lot of good debuffs that are useful, and unfortunately she doesn't really take advantage of them too much on the raids, but just having the damage is worth it for me. Now we have Zeros, and a lot of people are going to say, wow, your Zeros sucks, a big fat D, but I love my Zeros. I've always ran him just like this, and I have no regrets. I don't know why I said regrets, but regrets. I have no regrets. Building about 20,000 HP, really nice attack, really nice speed, really nice crit rate, of course. The crit damage is where I lack hugely, and the accuracy is where I also am super upset about. I almost am going to unrune my Zeros and put focus on him and just build him completely offset, because with the amount of Perna, Samath, those types of arena defenses out there, not having accuracy on your Zeros is a waste of a Zeros, really. In my opinion, it's a waste of a freaking Zeros. And 35% is just not going to cut it. You need to be up over 50%. So I'll be changing his runes very shortly. But right now, this is what he is, Violent Will. Will is definitely a must, whether you're offset, it doesn't matter what kind of runes you run on him. Will is a must, unless you're super fast and you're planning to go first every single time without fail. I would say Will is an absolute must. Now, these are the runes that I have on it. Slot 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a huge amount of stats that I have on my Zeros. But again, he's kind of all around. It's an all around Zeros. It's very hybrid, kind of damage dealer type bullshit. I'll show you guys when I rush tomorrow. I will absolutely record my rush hour tomorrow and show you guys my Zeros in action. So if you want to watch that, definitely hit that subscribe button and watch tomorrow as that will come out. And then my Pride and Joy Juno, the love of my life. Really, just I'm so happy to have Juno back. I love her so much. There's all these comments and hate comments in here as far as how they need to buff Juno. Juno, you know, my first Nat 5, then I realized she sucked. You have Beanie Dragon here saying that he's got the best Juno. I don't know. I don't think that's. Anyway, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't think this one's better than mine. No. Maybe. I'll let you guys decide. Anyway, so here's the thing with Juno. She doesn't need buffing. She's very, very, very specific to arena defense. No, she's not good anywhere else besides arena defense. Maybe a little bit on arena offense, but really, Juno on arena defense is legend contention material. 100%. Now you have to have the right monsters built with her, such as a Samath or a Amduat or, you know, stuff like that. However, she is a component in a legendary arena defense. She is one component in a legendary defense. So take with that what you will. That's Juno. That's Juno for you. Vertihile, pretty basic Vertihile build, just slower than all my other monsters in my DB10 team. That's really the only time that I use him. That's it. Nothing else, right? Nothing else. He's just a DB10 player. Hua, I haven't used Hua in forever. Not even in any aspect of the game. Not even in raids or anything. So I should probably rune her again. But as you can see, I don't have any runes on her right now. And Shiwa is just built for my Necro B10 team. And then Freya. So I talked a little bit about not using Freya and Arena in arena defense last week in my Arena Rush Hour video, but I actually used both of them this week, not at the same time, but I used one or the other. And I actually had more success with Freya than I did with Arena. And I had lesser runes on it at the time of Rush Hour than I do now. And the reason why I boosted up the runes a little bit more is because I felt that it was worth it. I was like, okay, Freya got me some good success. Let me give some love to the Freya. So here's basically how to rune Freya. HP as low as possible. So from the runes here, I don't even have my HP rune maxed out because I just want to keep it as low as possible for the HP. I already have my speed, accuracy, crit rate, whatever else that I want from this rune. And really, there's nothing on this rune. This is a bad rune. Like, do I have any? No, I don't have any other runes. So, really, I would want more speed out of that rune. But here it is. So you want your Freya to go after your buff stripper. So like, I have my Juno go, and then I have my Freya go. And the reason why is because if your Freya has Despair on it, then it could actually stun and do more than just heal up the entire team after a Lucian. It has more counter ability if it's built after your, say, Juno. Okay. Moving on, as low as HP as possible, high speed as possible without going past your buff stripper, and then 100% resistance is really, it's key. It's almost a requirement on Freya. You really don't need any other stats. So the reason why you should not have resistance, there is no reason that you should not have resistance. You should always have resistance on your Freya and Will. If you don't have Will or resistance, don't run Freya because you're gonna get Zeros, you're gonna get whatever else, and it's gonna be horrible. So don't do it. So resistance, speed, that's it. It's really low rune requirements, and it's a really good way to deter a lot of Lucian root users, a lot of Zeros users even. I myself pass up a ton of Freyas just because I don't feel like getting resisted during Rush Hour. It heals up all their other monsters, removes all their debuffs, and I'm in just a shit place in Rush Hour trying to scramble to try to come up with something to finish the fight out and win. So be careful. Don't run Freya if you don't have the right runes, but she is very, very easy to rune. So don't not rune her this way. Okay, Moving forward, we have Spectra, just a normal Spectra, crit rate, accuracy, speed, crit damage, just for dragons. Dragons and TOA hard. I don't really use it on my dragons team anymore. I actually just use it strictly on my TOA hard team with Zeros, Brad, Bernard, Spectra, and the Dark Elephant. This one here, Basalt. That's all I use on my TOA hard, just kind of auto the entire thing. Then I have my Chloe unruned. I have my Colleen runed for R5. Full revenge. Really don't have too much invested in Colleen, so she's kind of just, she is what she is. You would really want to build her with like a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more speed, HP and defense as much as possible, but really building it on full revenge is a really nice way to get a lot of extra assist points on there. Making sure that you always have an attack break on the boss as well is super important for R5. Now moving forward, we have Zhang Fei. I use him in R5 a little bit. Crit rate, crit damage with some HP, and I have really low defense, which is kind of pissing me off a little bit. But as you can see, it's HP, crit damage, HP with some crit rate subs, and that's about it. So Revenge, it does well enough to be in frontline R5 as long as you have some support with it, like say a Diaz or what's the other one, Darien, to kind of you know, soften that blow a little bit, because we all like soft blows. Okay. So Vanessa we have still ruined. I don't know why, but I'm still clinging to the fact that Vanessa is still a good monster. With her 33% speed leader skill, I feel like she still has a place in arena defense. Now, I do use her midweek, but I don't use her in rush hour just because I like to switch up my arena defense. I don't want to have my arena defense that I use during rush hour the same as what I use throughout the entire week, because I have people fighting me all the time, and if they know that they can beat me, then they know that they can beat me in rush hour. I would rather have a little bit of a mystery. You know, I want to be mysterious about my arena defense. So I use Vanessa right now midweek. I will show you. Midweek, typically use Vanessa, Camilla, and Juno, and then I kind of switch out this one to whoever I feel like whenever I want. But Vanessa, she's super rune dependent as well. Like, she's stat hungry. She wants HP, she wants defense, she wants speed, she wants resistance, she wants accuracy, she wants crit rate, crit damage, attack, like she wants every single stat. Because the more crit rate she has, the more her skill 2 is going to do damage. Okay, proportionate to enemy's max HP. So anytime it does damage proportionate to the enemy's max HP based on her crit damage as well, she's going to be tanky but still do damage. Also attack is always nice. Just like Camilla, really, HP, so many stats that are needed. So I just built it. I built it Will with Violent. But here's the reason why I built Will, was because I knew that I was getting bombed a lot. I knew that I was getting triple bombed. Triple bombing meaning like Sierra, Malacca, whoever other bomb, Liebly, and Dover, something like that, because I didn't have enough will runes. I didn't have any will runes on my defense. So having a little bit of will runes gives you a chance to do something before getting triple bombed, because that's, nobody wants to get triple bombed. So I put my Vanessa on will runes, and then here's my Lisa. Lisa is just strictly for R5, doesn't need to have too many stats, so she's just kind of got leftover runes, HP, speed, defense, whatever, a little bit of resistance, and that's about it. Nothing too crazy about Lisa, just violent, and then whatever else you want. I put shield runes on her because that's all I had. So moving on to Meiho Wang, the Fire Monkey King. He has a lot of HP, a little bit of attack, a little bit of speed, a little bit of crit rate. He's a lot worse runed than you would probably think, but he has built HP, crit damage, HP, and I use him a lot for Guild Wars. I don't use him really for R5 or anything like that, but I use him a lot in Guild Wars, and he does just fine. Because his attack stacks. But as you can see, lots of HP subs, to make up for the non-HP right here. And then the tankier you build him, the better, because he's still going to do damage even as a straight tank. As long as you have a little bit of crit rate, a little bit of crit damage, that's all that really matters. Accuracy, that's yeah, 7% is pretty sad, but it still works for when I need it. My Lucians, I changed a little bit. This one stayed the same, the Rage Blade one. I somehow got really lucky with my Rage runes and just have some pretty amazing stats to show for them. And then I have the other Lucian here that I changed from, I added this rune in here, and I think I added this rune in here, so that way I can put a little bit more attack on him. So he has 1230 instead of when he previously had like 900 something. So he got like 200 more attack, maybe even 300 more attack, but then he also got 3 less speed. So the fact that this Lucian has more attack than this Lucian, but then this one has a little bit more crit damage, a little bit less crit damage. They do about the same amount of damage, but I always want to try to have my higher hitting Lucian come last. The reason why is because the less damage you do on the first Lucian, the less chance you have of getting procced with Nemesis and stuff like that. So here's my Bernard. My Bernard is actually slower than the maximum that it could be, because I have this rune on here, which is super weird. I could actually get a faster Bernard just by using like a Swift rune instead. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I have that on there. But I have this, you know, just as fast as possible. Really is all that matters. And I have this one in here, but I'm going to change that soon, right when we get off. right when I get off video. Okay, but 176, 287, that's about it. Anything over like 290 though is really what you're shooting for, 290. People always say though, what is the main speed that you need for a Bernard? Now I can go into a whole nother story about that, because I think it's the stupidest question ever, because a Bernard speed has absolutely, well, I'm not gonna say absolutely, but a Bernard speed has very little impact on what arena you can make. You shouldn't be relying on Bernard speed to make Conqueror, you shouldn't be relying on Bernard speed to make Guardian, etc. Make it as fast as you can, no matter what. There's no, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna make another video about that, because I feel like I can go on for days about that. Unruin my Delphoy, because she didn't even work in my style of RTA. I just don't like the RTA style of, you know, putting up will and doing all this other shit, because I don't have time for that. I want to make sure that I'm nuking down the other team as fast as possible, getting in, getting out. I live a busy lifestyle. I'm sure you guys do as well. So I just don't, you know, fuck Delphoy. I don't care. I don't know why I spent all the resources to max level her. I think she's even got, oh yeah, she's got some skill ups. Not a whole lot, but I just want to make sure that this one was skilled up. My Chasun, I don't really want to pronounce names wrong, but it is what it is. You guys know what her name is. So plus 112 speed. I did a little bit of HP, a little bit of defense, a little bit of resistance. That's really all you need on her. Violent Nemesis is really a must. Not even fully grinded, because Chasun definitely, Chasun, whatever. She always needs to be fully grinded. She doesn't even have any speed on this rune. I could probably switch it out for some crit rate, because there's no need for crit rate on this rune. I actually do have a speed, which is kind of crazy, but I'll save that for another time. And then resistance and super nice violent rune there. That's actually my highest speed violent slot 1 rune. Chasun's pretty basic though. Speed, HP, Nemesis. You could try running her Nemesis will, try running her Nemesis. But really, if you're not going to use her on arena defense all the time, for Guild Wars, for dungeons, for PvE, things like that, speed, HP, violent Nemesis is really the best way to go. For Guild Wars, you could even use Will. Triton, this Triton's decent. I'm not super happy about it. It's just making sure that it's faster than my faster than my Galleon, faster than my Zeros, faster than my Tosi is really all I'm going for, but HP, a little bit of defense and speed, and then some nice accuracy. That's about it. Pretty basic here. Doesn't really need grinds just because it's on offense, and it's really just there as long as it's a little tanky, so that way it can take some hits from a Perna or a Kumar or a Sekmet or something like that. That's really all you need. So that's all it is. Despair Will. I might even put it on Shield Will, to be honest. Here's my ghetto ass Lagmaron. 74 speed, some crit rate, some crit damage, some little accuracy and attack. But basically, I just use this every now and then. If I know that the other team does not have any will runes, I'll substitute Lagmaron in instead of Triton and use a third nuker with Zeros, Lagmaron, Tosi, and Galleon, and just full will shield their fucking bitch asses until they're dead. But here you go. Here's the will runes. Here's the focus rune. The best focus rune that I could ever have imagined for. It's an amazing rune. I wish it was like violent though instead. That would be super cool. But here you go. Here's the other one, and then the attack 25%. So he's got a lot of attack subs, as you can see. But yeah, speed slot 2 with 1285 attack. That's pretty damn good. Okay, so moving on, Punk Bake. Yep, no surprises there. Still unruined. Here we go. We have Xingje, and this is my brand new Xingje. So I have not shown you guys how I ruined him yet because I just got him while I was doing the No Nat 5 to Guardian challenge or whatever it was. But I ruined it with crit rate slot 4 because I don't have any crit damage, will, or violent runes. That's why I run crit rate a whole lot, if you guys were wondering. But as you can see, it has some really nice substats on it. So HP, defense, crit damage, speed. Really, what more could you ask for? And then I have speed, HP slot 2, and attack slot 6. With some little HP right there, speed, crit rate, defense, everything you need, speed, attack, HP, resistance. Really, you want to build it kind of hybrid. You want to build it damage, but you also want to build it with a little bit of HP because he has this awesome passive skill. He's not even fully maxed up because I used Devilmons on fucking Figaro or something during my time without Nat 5's, but whatever. He has this awesome skill though that decreases the damage inflicted by 25% and counteracts with a 25% chance. Now, to be honest, I feel like everybody else's Xingje counterattacks way more than my Xingje does, but that's maybe just subjective. I did it on Will just for the same reason why I put Vanessa on Will, because I want to have a little bit of extra play against bombs where if you don't use Tiana, then you still have a chance to lose. So I put it on Will, and it's been doing pretty good so far. So my arena defense during Rush is Xingje. I don't want to always say Freya, but it's Xingji, Camilla, the way I built Camilla, and then Juno. Pretty much are the 3. And then I switch out the number 4 monster kind of throughout the entire Rush. Sometimes I do Vanessa lead, sometimes I'll switch out, put Freya in there, sometimes I'll put in Rena, sometimes I'll put in even this triple nemesis Vermos. Not like that though, not the way he's ruined there. But sometimes I'll put in this one, you know, it just depends. It just depends on how I'm getting hit, who's hitting me, things like that, for who I'll throw in for that last slot. But Freya did really good, so I'll probably use her a little bit more in tomorrow's Rush Hour. And then we have a basically unruined Escher, Figaro unruined because all the runes went to yours truly, Juno, right up there at the top left. No runes on Belladon because I don't even know why. I should probably re-rune her. No runes on Halphus, really. I mean, no surprises there. Halphus got de-runed. And then you have big old Tosi right here. So Tosi, I had a little bit different runes on him after free rune removal, and then I decided to kind of switch it because I realized that I didn't have shield runes on any of my arena offense monsters. and I was getting stripped and debuffed by Orion up the fucking wazoo. And so I put last minute some shield runes on him. So I do tend to have some really nice shield runes. So as you can see, 29% attack with crit rate, crit damage, and HP. And then here's my will rune as well. So I prioritize crit damage on my substats because I use crit rate slot 4, ding ding ding, because I always use crit rate slot 4. But 27% HP, I'm sorry, defense, and then 14% HP is pretty nice with some decent attack percent as well. And then prioritize crit damage again. Have a little crit damage, but mainly the speed is what I was going for, and the crit rate. And then you have a huge crit damage sub with attack percent again on slot 1. And as you can see, that's how the stats come out. So you don't even need to have crit damage slot 4 to have some decent crit damage. And the attack percent from like this right here and that really helps out to put 1352 attack with speed slot 2. And it's less speed than my Zeros, just so that way my Zeros can go first and then my Toasty can come up afterwards, clean up, so that way any passives like from Perna, Samath, even some Theomarses and things like that, I can clean up with my Toasty afterwards. Darien still remains shield, or half shield anyway. Don't really use him too much anymore. The way he was built, unfortunately, he's kind of been voted off the island as far as out of meta, and Kabila out of meta. Really though, she's not out of meta. I take that back. A lot of people use her instead of Bernard these days because they want to counter that Samath as much as possible. I threw some extra runes on my Dover and made it a little too fast for my arena offense, but it's not even on will. It's just for like TOA hard, things like that, that I can kind of throw in my Dover, maybe even RTA, and do decently well with it. It's speed, attack with attack substats, which is, I mean, it's a decent Dover. It's not, I'm not like jumping for joy that this is the best Dover ever, but it's all right. My Gemini, I still have runed a little bit for RTA because I like my Gemini rune for RTA as well, but you don't want to put will on Gemini because it completely screws up his passive. I'm sure you guys already know that already, but it doesn't matter what you put for the other substats. You could put Nemesis, you could put really anything, just don't give yourself a buff, because if you have a buff, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is removing buffs from the other team. But as you can see, speed, HP, and then I put accuracy on slot 6 because it has a super nice subset of 19 speed, and that's what it looks like. So 85% accuracy, 126 speed. I mean, it's enough HP for my liking. I don't really care. As long as we're going first, that's all that matters, and I plan to go first. So then there's the Diaz that I use a little bit for R5. Again, just kind of spare runes, not even like anything that crazy, and that's just fine. Front slot, the defense is super bad, didn't realize that, but it does just fine. Vermos is completely just spare runes, so don't even look at the Vermos. Basalt, I'm sure you guys might be wondering what I use for my TOA hard, and this is what it is. So speed, defense, HP. I mean, it doesn't take that good of runes, guys. If you have the monsters, it doesn't take that good of runes. If you don't have the monsters, it takes some pretty focused runes and skill sets to kind of get up to that level, as you guys have seen the previous weeks as well. But it's so much easier when you have the monsters, trust me. I mean, it really is so much easier. But here you go, accuracy 93%. Don't use Helia. Don't really use Ran. If I do, it's just for a random, like look at that. Look at what? No attack, but it has more attack than this one. Okay, so maybe I should just finish up maxing this slot out. But if I do, it's just for a random Necro run, that's about it. But it doesn't need any speed, so I just focus on substats instead. Don't run my Mantura, don't run my Amnesty. And that's the only monsters that I used. And I could do TOA hard, TOA normal, dragons B10, dragons, you know, giants, whatever. Yeah, really anything. And then Megan, though. Megan is the other key player. Accuracy, because if I fight against a Rena, I want to be able to remove that buff and use Megan for what she's really good for. But speed really is all the other thing that matters. Speed and accuracy, that's about it. As you can see, I don't even waste time 6-starring my Megan, although I probably will here in the near future, just because if I'm Lucianing a Camilla, then the Camilla focuses my Megan first, and the longer that my Megan can last, the longer that my Lucians can last, because the Camilla doesn't switch targets after it kills the Megan to my Lucians. But to go back to what I was talking about as far as the Necro thing, Necro is 100% the best way to move up an arena as far as runes are concerned. Violent is nice, yes, but really Will and Nemesis are going to be your best friends in arena. And a lot of people ask, what do I do first? Do I do R5? Do I do Necro? Build your fucking Necro team, because what good is R5 if you don't have any runes to put your grindstones on? And that's really what it comes down to, because you can R5 all you want, but if you don't have good runes to put them on, then you're just wasting your time in R5, and then you gotta go back and run your Necro runs anyway, so it doesn't even really matter. But then you wasted all of your good grindstones on runes that you're just gonna replace with Necro or new runes anyway, so it just doesn't make sense. So just figure out your dungeon teams first, then focus on R5 is my opinion and my advice. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my rune review after I brought my natural 5-star monsters back to life. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video and hit the bell as well, because apparently that is how you get notifications for my videos. But other than that, stay soupy, don't be potatoes, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.